What up, Guitkit crew? It's your boy Bobby G. I want to talk to you about the Guitkit clan. Just a little bit, holler at you about some family history. My great-great-great-great-grandfather was a Neubourg. Came from Hanover, Germany, right? And I just wanted to sort of set the mood here. Do you guys have like a family heirloom? Maybe an old guitar that you got from a relative, a father, you know what I mean, mother, grandfather. It means a little bit something, you know, more than the other ones do. It doesn't have to be a guitar. You know what a family heirloom does. So let me talk about great-great-great-grandfather Neubourg, right? And his roots, you know what I mean? The Neubourg name, I mean, it goes back 1,000 years. We're talking about William the Conqueror, his right-hand man. His name was Roger Beaumont, right? Now, Roger Beaumont was the most powerful, respected, richest feudal lord in Normandy. And during his lifetime, he organized all the clans and little people living in the caves north of his, little, feudal estate. And he called it Neubourg, right? New town. Even 1,000 years later, you can figure out what he's trying to call it, right? So his son inherited this estate, and he took the surname Neubourg. So he was the first Neubourg. And over the next 600, 700, 800 years, these people like spread out through Europe. Most of them settled in like the Prussian Valley in Germany, like right in Prussia there. And they just chilled, man. A lot of them got into textiles. A lot of them got into brewing. It was either textiles or brewing from what I see. And sometimes it was generational. Sometimes it was brewer, textiles, brewer, textiles. But anyway, my great-great-grandfather, great-great-great-great-grandfather, he was into textiles. His son Adolf was into brewing, and so on and so forth. So his cousin Karl, around 800, like 1800, right around there, 1810, let's just say, when he was born, he became like a great guitarist. And this is like in the time of the early modern guitar. He became like Jimi Hendrix of Prussia, this guy. And he didn't fit the mold of a brewer, didn't fit the mold of a textile guy. So he, got rushed by the Lutheran church and joined the church and became like a guitar playing preacher. It's true history. Look up Karl Neuberg. His son Leonard, after he, calmed down and everything, he moved to the United States, right? And he became like the owner of the biggest hops farm in the Wild West. He settled out in Sacramento. He grew hops and malt. He pretty much every brewer in California, he supplied them. Hops, malt, he was the man. Look up Leonard Neubourg, man. Leonard Neubourg, he's the man. So he basically had his family come over to help him, once he got real big. Now his brother Karl was like Karl Neuberg Part 2, right? He was like Jacob Dylan, for lack of a better analogy. But he wasn't, anywhere near what his father was. But he became, a brewer, a hops agent. I don't know what to say for the Neubourg Hops Company out in Sacramento. But he brought his guitar with him. And I think it was his dad's guitar. I think he had, his old man's guitar that he modified. And obviously liked to play the thing. So, take a look behind me. See that coffin case? Oh, you see it back there? Yes, folks, we're going to open that. And we're going to think about the Neubourg clan while we open it. And let's take a look at it right now. Let me flip you out here. Here it is. Cousin Karl's guitar, man. In its original coffin case. It's got an original 1870s Wells Fargo Express sticker. And that's right when they got rid of the little picture graphs on there. It's got, look at that. Case, it's got the original key lock. Yeah. Thing is like seriously ancient, man. Seriously common man's pride and joy. Look at this. Look at that. Now this guitar is out of commission. There he is. Karl Neuberg. This has been repainted like several times. You can see the actual wood underneath the paint. You know what I mean? The binding and everything. So you see the binding around it. He's painted over it. This might have been painted over in the new country. I think this might be his father's guitar, man. And I think he might have like used it. And I'll tell you why. It's missing some frets. We can fix that. I'm gonna show you something that's like really gross, but interesting. This is reconnected with mortar. It's got a new headstock, man. either a new headstock or a broken headstock. But it looks like a new headstock has been attached to an old guitar. And you know why? Because of this guy, the ice cream cone, man. That's an old school thing to have on a guitar. This has been painted several times, man. So the guy I got off of, he says he thinks this is actually an English guitar. He doesn't think it's a German guitar because of the bridge. He thinks it's from the 1850s, what he said. It's got the wooden nut. You know, I don't know. I mean, this guy came from Germany. You know what I mean? I don't know what to think about this bridge. You know what I mean? I don't know why it was painted over so many times. It might have been, it's messed up. What I really want to do here, I want to clean it up. You know, this case is in pretty good shape too. I want to get rid of the paint around the binding at least. Keep, you know what I mean, some of this paint right here. Keep his name since, you know, he's a Neubourg. Just clean it up, man. You know what I mean? And get it working again. The action looks like it'll work. And this repair, the mortar, you know, amateur headstock replacement job seems to be stable. And I'm going to, you know, reinforce it a little bit and clean it up. You know what I mean? You can see the fretboard has been repainted maybe a couple times. These guys were jammers. Look at this guy, man. He was really musical, man. They get in the hoedown Neubourg style, man. So I'm going to do cousin Karl Neuberg a solid, man. I'm going to get his guitar playable again. And we're going to start by sort of just sanding off, taping this down, I guess, if we have to. But, you know, we'll just get some steel wool and carefully working around the edges here and in here. You know what I mean? With, you know what I mean, 000 steel wool. And maybe some light, you know what I mean, up to 250 grade, you know what I mean, sandpaper. And just get rid of that paint around there. You know, in a nice, soft, gentle way. So I'm going to put you guys on pause. We're going to first clean this guy up. And then start working that old paint off. And make our assessment about what we're going to do with this headstock while we get working on it. So, see you in a minute, folks. This is a very exciting project. There's a little family history going on here. I got cousin Karl's guitar up on the slab. We're doing a little bit of work on it. I sanded this back a little bit and then I put a little bit of acetone on it. And you can see there's the beautiful guitar underneath it. So I was thinking about it and I was thinking about old Karl's, you know, what I mean, beautiful calligraphy. I was like, well, you know, if I did want to rid of one, the other's got to go also. So then I thought about it again. I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to keep Karl, you know what I mean, tape Karl off and just sort of go around it. You know what I mean? We'll see how it goes. You know what I mean? We'll see how beautiful the guitar is underneath all this. So we're just going to sand it back a little bit and then just, like, you know, brush it off with this. You know what I mean? We'll probably repaint. Look at it, but it looks beautiful underneath it. And it is an old guitar and it is a nice guitar. With this, you know, I did a little test on it. It's definitely solid. So we're going to do like a glue bondo job. We're going to, you know, fix up the back there presentationally. I think there's no reason to really get rid of this. We'll just put new frets on there. Do a nice rollover on her. You know what I'm saying? Give it a quick, you know what I mean, quick coat of lacquer to reseal it. I was checking this out too. Here's a strap button. I thought it was plastic at first. It's actually real finely done wood, and it looks like it was not original. It looks like it probably has been added in the 1880s. I'm saying this guitar is probably from like the 1860s. You know what I mean? And I think it was inherited. I think that the headstock was replaced intentionally. Probably had like a peghead headstock. Because there's no sign of any break. It's just a sign of like reattachment. You know what I mean? It's a clear, you know what I mean? Like one was cut off of one guitar because of the other guitar. So, and this is a very English thing he's writing. It's a big fat, you know what I mean? Kind of thing. I don't know. I really don't know. If any of y'all know, let me know, man. I'm saying probably German, possibly English. You know what I mean? That's what's in contention now. So I'm going to keep working out this old finish, trying to get off, you know, when it has to come off, leave what's got to stay. Peace. We just kept working it back, you know what I mean? This stuff is coming off pretty easy. I'm using, like I said, just acetone on it, you know what I mean? It dries real quick, doesn't do any damage to the wood. Seems to be pretty good. So we decided what we're going to do with cousin Karl. I just took a Sharpie and I just, you know, blocked him out. And I'm just going to get rid of everything around this block. And we're just going to leave that, you know what I mean, little square block in the middle there. You know what I mean? It's real easy to remove. So if anywhere down the line when I croak, whoever gets a hold of this doesn't care about the Neubourgs, can just get rid of it themselves. You know what I'm saying? But we'll leave cousin Karl, because this isn't like, you know what I mean, a Stradivarius. This is just going to be a cool little, like, you know what I mean, family piece. So I'm going to come back to you once I get all this stripped down completely down to the, any wood. And I'm going to do the back too. So, we might not see each other for a long time, but I'll miss you. This is originally a light color. You know what I mean? Like they did in the 1850s and had the black neck. So that's why I'm thinking German, right? Although the English did do that too. That's true. So, anyway, who knows? It's an old, mid-century European guitar from the 19th century. All right, folks. Hey, see you when we're stripped naked. Now, after much hard work, look at my hands. They're all messed up. Oh, like an old man. Look at that, man. We got it down to where it wants to be. Very carefully took off all that opaque, paint. And I taped up the ice cream cone real well so that black paint didn't get messed up. But we took off everything that was opaque, very, very carefully. We're just going to go around this again right before we hit it up with, I think I'm going to do it in like some shellac, something very careful. But look at that. We got all the binding, back where it should be. So what we're going to want to do now is we're going to want to mess around with his neck and getting these frets back where they belong, and shaving them down. So let me get those frets in there, and I'll come right back at you. The frets cut, 1, 2, 3 frets missing, and there's 3 frets. Make sure these are cleaned out. Run a little bead of Titebond, hammer them in. Maybe get something sitting on top of them, and make sure we got a good set. So I'll put you on pause, and once they're set in there, nice and sank down and glued, I'll let you see it. So there they are. The frets are all in. Clean them up with a wet rag. Got all that excess Titebond glue off. Right, we're just going to let it set. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this piece of wood, get the quick grips, and just grip it on there for a good, 2-3 hours, just to make sure they're nice and set. And then we'll come back tomorrow when, we'll file it down the edges, and we'll do a complete rollover, and, get all these frets down. Down to tacks, gentlemen and gentlemenettes. We got those frets on there. I want to set this overnight with on the countertop. Just clamp down. It wasn't too much, The neck was pretty straight, and there wasn't too much bow anywhere, but I just want to, before I clean up the frets and level them all out, I want the neck to be as straight as possible. So that's what we're doing. Leave this for another day, 2 days, you got nothing to do. Leave it for a week if you can. But at least a night or so, just to straighten that sucker out. Peace! We still got, a little bit of pressure on there. Let it set for a little while. But while we wait, let's get to work on this mess here. This is straight up mortar, from like mortar and bricks. It's really, really what I'm saying? My idea is I'm just going to try to fix this area. Keep this original black, back paint, because this looks to be original for the most part, this paint. And just sort of clean this up, with an X-Acto knife right now, at least while we're sitting here. We're not going to, really glue it yet, because I want to shake it out and everything. And then we're going to get some Titebond in there, some Bondo. But let's get, this is all like it's literally like, it's like cement on there, you know what I'm saying, man? My man was straight up savage, but hey, this thing is 100, 30 years on from the repair, it's still rock solid. And my man died in 1938, I think it was, 1938, something like that. So he was probably jamming on this thing for many years. So let's take a look, at, the guitar. We'll put it on pause right now, right after we knock off a little bit of that cement, We're not going to take it off from inside, just, just to smooth it out. So I'm going to put you on pause. So there we go. I used a little bit of what is pretty coarse file, curved file. And we're still manning this oxide cloth, this 50 cloth, that we've been using all through the project to sort of get everything. So it looks like it was definitely replaced headstock. It's without a doubt. You see the cut was done it looks like this guy might have done it himself. It doesn't look like it was done very professionally. But we got it real smooth now, and we're just going to keep this set for another couple days. You know, applying the hair dryer every now and then to sort of just, you know, heat it up. You know what I mean? Just strain it real good. So now this is real smooth, and all we got to do is we're going to fill it up with some Titebond glue, and all them cracks, blow out all that, you know, cement dust. And then once we get the glue set, we're going to do it on the other side too. And we'll put some Bondo in there and just spray it with some black enamel. Right there, just right here, you know what I mean? We're going to try to keep the rest of the paint original, because that looks like it's pretty original. So this headstock, yeah, it definitely looks like it came from a different guitar. So cool. Let's continue on with our little journey, man. You know what I mean? That's definitely an old V-cut, you know what I mean? That's been tampered with, folks. Alright, folks, now it's time to give a little bit of love to the coffin case, man. Cousin Neuberg's coffin case is, you know, a historic case. We want to, you know, make sure that it's able to contain our guitar for the next 2 million years. So, first thing I really want to do from like a conservationist perspective is I want to stabilize the label. I took a look at it, and I can see that it's starting to come up a little bit here. You know what I mean? So I'm going to put a little bit Elmer's glue, like real, like diluted, just sort of to peg that down, because a fingernail will pull that right off. We don't want to pull that off. Another thing that I saw, Cousin Neuberg needs to get this guy clamped back together. There's a big crack running in the back there. Some pipe clamps, wood glue. We also see Cousin Neuberg has done his own repairs here to the coffin case, the old GSB. We're going to want to take some acrylic paint and just go over this, you know, blackish brown. We'll kind of mix them up. You know, I still like his style, man. He did a pretty decent job. He even put the felt back on there and everything. But we'll just sand that down a little bit, you know, do him proud. He did a great job, you know what I'm saying, considering that he wasn't a professional like me. One other thing, man, I was looking at this. Cousin Neuberg's missing a latch, man. Missing a latch. Now, these old Victorian era latches, and they were on everything, jewelry boxes. I mean, you know, but I didn't have one, you know. I was bugging. I was like, oh no, man. What do I do about that? You know what I mean? I don't want to put something jacked up on there that looks out of place. So I looked on the internet and I found a couple that were similar, but like kind of expensive, like $10 a piece. You know what I mean? You have to order and pay lots of shipping. It was like kind of ridiculous. I figured this piece has been used for like 100, you know, years. You know what I mean? It's got to be somewhere. And they still make it. You can get it at Home Depot, folks. Yes, folks. It's called a hook and a staple. Home Depot, like $3, $4, and it's the exact same part. Made in China now, of course. See that? Hecho in China, made in China, but it's the exact same part, man. Look at that, exact same size and everything. And I got the little tiny screws too. Look at this. This is the same exact screws, you know, brass, of course, but it's the exact same head size. Same length and everything. So I'm going to give these two guys like a nice bit of brown, like flat lacquer, just to brown them up a little bit, you know what I mean? Because this is like straight gun metal, too dark, and this is like brass. So we get them looking all brown and get them on there. I'll show you. You'll be like, wow. Even Cousin Neuberg would be beside himself. So if you're looking for that kind of thing for restoration, folks, it's called hook and staple. It's like $3.88 at Home Depot. Peace be with you. I'll show you the case after Cousin Neuberg would be proud. Peace. Alright, folks. Now it's time to get gluing, man. I want to pump some Titebond, you know what I mean, into this little crevice here. Let it dry, right? And then I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to just Titebond right in all here, right? And let that dry. Now you can tell it's two different guitars because this is obviously made out of maple and this is made out of mahogany. So, some other gluing to be done. You know what I mean? I want to get some Titebond and just get this little suction cup thing in here. Just push it in there. You know, get it all squeezed in. Also on the back here, I need a little pipe clamp action. I'll show you here. Now this is a little bit loose. There's some give here. See that goes in. When you press it, see that, press real hard, it's gone. So I'm gonna just put a bunch of glue in there, run a pipe clamp carefully with some towels. Take a look at this bag, though. I want you to know something, because I think I know the origin of this guitar for sure now, like country-wise, nationality-wise. I think my man Clark was right. I think this is a British guitar. This basically, I've seen this bridge like on a whole bunch of European guitars, and very similar. I think it's a replacement bridge. I think this was a part you can order, because I checked back here. It's been reinforced, and you can see here tell signs of a bridge blow off. You know what I mean? Took some wood with it. So, having fixed a whole bunch of guitars, this bridge is definitely, you know what I mean, definitely a replacement bridge. I mean, they replaced the headstock. This guitar has been replaced. It's like C3PO, man. So, I want to tell you that I think Clark was right, man. I think that this is a British guitar. If there was ever anybody that was like C.F. Martin in Great Britain, it was Louis Panormo. Now, Panormo, I'm not saying this is a Panormo guitar, but he made, look at these guitars that he made. And look at let me show you here. A little bit closer here. Let's take a look here at that bridge. See what the original bridge might have looked like? You know what I'm saying? I've seen him even just square without that little mustache handlebar thing. I mean, this is obviously a fancy man's guitar. You take a look inside, it's got all kinds of inlay. I'm saying this is a copyist, you know, another British guy who wanted to be, because Panormo was the man, just like everybody in America that's making guitars copied Martin. Same deal, yo. And look at this, look at the back of it. I'm going to show you real quick this picture here. Let me get up here. Oh, man. Not really good. I'm sorry, folks. Look at that little tiny ice cream cone. You know what I mean? Nose. It's like, see that? It's like the same deal. A little tiny little nose. You know what I mean? Flat back. Right? And I want to tell you what I'm thinking about the headstock, too. And then you're going to agree with me as soon as you see this. You'll be like, oh. Right? You dumb schmutz. All right, so there you go, man. Look at that. And you take a good look at that, and how easy a drunken German would be able to break that after traveling around the world, jamming out everywhere he went. Look at that neck, you know what I mean, joint right there, that whole thing jutting out, you know what I mean, that little piece. And you can feel it. It's kind of juts out a little bit. See how he did that? I'm not saying this is a Panormo. Again, I'm just saying that, you know what I mean, this is definitely not German. It's got no arch back. I have a whole bunch of German guitars from this time period. They're all made in the Schoenbach region in Germany. Violin country folks, they all have that arch back. This is a flat back. You know what I'm saying? This is like the Spanish style, as they were calling it at the time. That's what I think Panormo was even, one of his little slogans. You know what I mean? Like a flat guitar, you know what I mean? Flat top, flat back. So, I think that this is a British guitar after Panormo, probably around 1850, 1855. And the headstock's been replaced, and the bridge has been replaced. And this is definitely why the headstock was replaced, right? As they just say, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, fuck you! So we got it. Clamper pulling out one of those little cracks. You know what I'm saying? Uncracking ourselves, man. So let's do something to make Cousin Carl proud, man. Take a look here. See how he's just jammed the fuck out of this. You know what I'm saying? If you look at it real close, it looks like it's some kind of a real dark, bittersweet chocolate. So we're going to get in there with some acrylic paint, like these kind of things. We'll mix up with black and a little bit of, actually I have bittersweet chocolate. Just fill that in, you know what I mean? And we'll just like top off those first 3 frets with True Earl. So I'll show you when we're done, you know, and I'll put you on the running pause. So now we sort of use like a little brush. We've brushed up all the little fingerprint marks in there, just staining it, you know what I mean, with the acrylic. We got a McDonald's napkin. We're going to wipe that off in 1 second. And I'll put you on pause. Don't forget about me. You know, like so. You just do it a couple times, really. And eventually, I took a little hair dryer action to it to dry it down. And now I'm just going to carefully make a couple of paint ghosts. True oil the first 3 frets. And I don't want to get too much true oil on it. I just want to preserve, you know what I mean, protect and defend. So I'm going to put you on one final pause. And I want to show you something, man.
like cousin Neuberg, man. He must have done this fret job himself. These are all uneven. You know, it looks like he's maybe done it a couple times. I'm surprised, my man. I gotta check his desk too. I think he died of tetanus, man. It's horrible. No roundover at all. My man was strong like iron, bro. Push on pause. And now much better. See that? A little bit of true Earl. Paint ghost, man. Dispose of them properly. And looks like 1,000% better. Just those first 3 frets. Spot treated a couple other little areas. You know what I mean? Want to make it look nice for the people. Want to make it look nice for the people. So I'm pulling this crack out. This is a pretty deep crack here. And seeing the popsicle stick, you know what I'm thinking, right? It's got a brace right here. And it's got a brace right here. So we're talking about almost a whole popsicle stick. So just cut it that thing. Lay it against that brace, you know what I mean? Put a little glue on it, you know what I mean, with a paintbrush. And just put that on the clamp, you know what I'm saying? C'est la vie. You don't want this bridge pulling the hole, you know, this was already weak, even though it's got that brace there. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be okay because we've healed that wood, but you never know. This is real deep right there. So that's you know what I mean? One structure, you're not going to see it, you know what I mean? I'm going to stick my camera in there just to take pictures of the back. You know what I mean? Make sure there's no writing, you know what I mean? Oh my God, Gandhi wrote on the back of it. Ah! He put a popsicle stick on top of it. So, you know, nothing to see here, folks. Working on the back now, folks. So this big crack that ran down the back, we got some glue pumped in there. We took the suction cup. This is not under any tension, so it should be okay like that. Got the clamp on here. Got a level again. Got some wax paper, you know what I mean, between the clamp. You know what I mean? Because you don't want the clamp sticking to the guitar, do you? Also, once you're done doing the clamps, you're going to want to take some acetone, some alcohol, whatever, naphtha even. Just get that wax off the guitar, because wax and finish do not mix, folks. It'll screw up your whole finish. Any residue of wax. Whole bunch of Type Bomb. Just pumped into this. You know what I mean? Headstock joint here. We're going to let that dry nice and thoroughly for at least a day, 2 days before we even think about bondoing it. Just want to make sure it's dry, you know what I'm saying, and there's no residual moisture left in there. So there it is, folks. Again, nothing to see. You've seen it all. Peace. Cousin Neuberg's guitar is like a solid piece now, man. It feels solid. You know, when you're someone who's worked on guitars and you handle little tiny parlor guitars a lot, you know what I mean? You can feel a solid instrument, you know, tapping on it and such. Anyhow, so now it's time to address this ugly horse that's dangling his hoof into our mouth as we try to eat our daily bread. We're just going to bondo this bad boy up. Now, before we bondoed it, we did the neck. It's got a beautiful round over now. Now, I think that Cousin Karl had been, maintained this guitar himself. I'm pretty sure that these are definitely replacement frets. Who knows how long ago they were originally, but I saw they were a bit fluid. And they were starting to move around a little bit as I was doing the round over and, leveling them. You know what I'm saying? I had to almost go completely square to get these guys down to level. You know what I'm saying? It was an ugly mess. It never been done. You know what I mean? Ever. So, I finally got it done. I dropped a tiny little bit of crazy glue, super glue, like real life viscosity. I dropped down every single fret in those little tiny crevices. You know, and just to stop them from moving around. These frets have been swimming around in here. You know what I mean? Because there's probably been 2 or 3 different, fret jobs over the past 200 years. So, you know what I'm saying? So, that's what we handle now. And we're going to, do it very carefully. And we're just going to bondo in here. There's not really too much bondo to make it look like a lot more in the beginning. And then we're going to get in here like real good. You kicking it? You got all that? Peace. Oh yeah, man, I'm feeling the burn, man. All the bondo fumes, man. Shouldn't have bothered to open that window and just kept it all to myself. Oh, that's good. Good stuff. It's only half a joke, though. I got it, totally like a cast. I covered up all that cement, so you know what I mean? Cement feels like, you know what I mean? It's stone. And I did the front there nice for the people, like we've been saying, you know what I mean? I'm not going to try to put as little as possible paint on the front of the headstock. The back I don't really care, because it's not really something the people like to see. So let's let this dry thoroughly. Then we're sit in a sanding chair and just have ourselves a good time. Peace. Alright, so we got it bondoed. We got it sanded. Feels like a, you know what I mean? You got to do like the blind man's test. Just close your eyes and look at it and feel it, you know what I mean? Not so much look at it physically, but feel it. You know what I mean? You feel anything, just go back and go over it. You want a smooth deal here. So we're going to tape it up again. You know, we're only going to leave a little bit of wear on the back of his neck. You know what I mean? Cousin Neuberg's wear. The rest of this we're to, you know, I want to tape it up again and just give some filler primer just to give a little bit of reinforcement of that Bondo. So I'm going to tape it up and I'll be right back at you. So we're taped up to where we want to prime out. And we got the primer we're going to use right here. Old Rust-Oleum filler primer. We're just going to take it, you know, outside real quick. Hit it up. You know what I mean? We got it taped off. I might even want to tape this off a little bit more. You know what I mean? 'Cause I don't want any kind of, you know what I'm saying? And I'll come right back at you. So once the primer goes on, you can see the true, you know what I mean, the true nature of it. And it looks pretty smooth, right? It looks pretty good. So we're going to let that dry out completely. And we'll come back here and give it a little bit of wet sand. And try to get this little splatter off right now too while it's still wet. Peace. Alright, Mets fans. We got a couple coats of the filler primer on there. Right? And we brought it inside. And we wet sanded it. And we went out there again. Put another coat on. Wet sand it a little bit more. Pull the tape back. Right? Be real careful with that tape. And got rid of the lines. So now we're ready to tape it up before we lacquer it. So I'll come right back at you. So you can see I've gone out of my way to protect, you know what I mean, all the original black lacquer that I can. So I got the black lacquer. I'm going to go bring it outside real quick. And let's hope that the primer, you know, we didn't make a fool out of ourselves. I'm going to put you on the pause. We got one nice thick coat. It's shiny. We'll let that go. Let's see how it ends up, folks. Looks nice and shiny. Wow. Just wow. You know what I mean? Unreal. I just took the tape off and knocked that lacquer down to like the same, you know what I mean, worn lookingness as the surrounding lacquer. This is from, I think, his strap actually. You can see it continues here. I think he put a strap around here once the headstock broke off at one point. Anyhow, it like degraded up. You know what I mean? The leather was probably on it, like degraded on it. You know what I mean? Just leave that there. Anyhow, look at that, man. Unless you knew, you know what I mean? Unless you knew, you know what I mean? You're not gonna know. My man was an original pioneer, man, and he's got a stone reinforced neck, man, cement reinforced neck. Look at that. Look how incredible it is. Now we didn't forget about you, Neubourg. Your wear's still here. All your little bumps, stuff that you put, you know what I mean? Your scratches and everything, they're all still there, man. We preserved it, man. We love you, cousin Neubourg. Look at that. All your little songs, they're still here, man. They're still on the fretboard. We just knocked it back, you know, in about 20, 30 years, man. You know, so we love you, cousin Neubourg. So let's keep our little preservation going here. Now, when we took this paint off of here, there's a lot of paint on here, man. You know what I mean? And the tedious method in which we took it off, using the fingernail polish remover and the, you know what I mean, steel wool very carefully, we took it off layer by layer. Now this thing had like 4, 5 coats of paint on it, man. It had the original finish, which I tried to keep as much of the original finish of the, you know what I mean, the guitar front, back, you know what I mean, inside out as possible. Like, and then it had some varnish on top of that, you know what I mean. And then it had like opaque yellow, which you can see here, the opaque yellow. And then it had a couple coats of varnish over it. You can see the coats of varnish on this part. This is just where the yellow, the varnish. You know what I mean? And you can see that cousin Neuberg went through the original finish. You know what I mean? When he had that bridge pop and he replaced that bridge probably in like the 1870s. Thinking, you know what I mean? Just because of the style bridge. And then cousin Bobby G, unfortunately, man, he went through it too. So we had two little people went through the original finish. Just being too overzealous, man. You know what I mean? 150 years apart. So we're going to take some kind of color and get in there. I was thinking maybe a tea bag. Maybe I'm just thinking maybe some acrylic paint. Just real carefully match that up. You know what I mean? Keep it clean up. You know what I mean? The spruce still looks good. You know what I mean? It still feels good. You know, just let it breathe for a couple of days. But we don't want it to breathe too much because we're going to start to oxidize the wood. And that's not good. So we want to, you know what I mean, work fast. So this is it, man. Some Zinsser shellac. Now you want to keep this upstairs when you get it from, like, you know what I mean, Home Depot. Shake it. It should sound like coconut water, man. It should sound like you got water in there. If it sounded like maple syrup, bring it upstairs. You want to use shellac at room temperature. You know, and take it in the garage in the freezing cold, down the basement. You know what I mean? If it sounds a little too soupy, you want to bring it up to room temperature. And we're just going to, you know what I mean, put it on there with a nice big paint ghost. We're going to do the top first. And then we're going to do the back after the top is dry. We want to get a nice clear. You know, the top is what we face the world with, so we're going to take care of that. We're going to tape this off and everything. So I'll show you when we're all taped off and ready to begin our shellacking moments together. You know what I mean? And we'll see that we've darkened this up, and I'll explain how we darken it up at that point. Peace. So we got it all taped up. Shellac all smelling like butterscotch. Love it. Little bit of acrylic, you know what I mean? Darken them little overzealous areas back up. You know what I mean? Protect it. Got a nice paint go, so there's 6 cotton balls shoved in the head there, nice clean. We're to do a thin coat. So I mean, let's carefully do it. We got everything taped off, and I'll put you on pause. Very thin coat. Alright, so we got a coat on here. Smelling all butterscotchy. Took off the, you know, a little bit of that Sharpie, but we can just go right over that again carefully when we're done. So, looking good, man. Looking really good. I'm happy. So, we have to wait about an hour, you know, between coats. I'm going to close this guy up. Come back here, do it like 2 or 3 more times. 4 more times. Till I'm happy. Sanding it in between coats. Wet sanding it. Maybe a little bit of oil sanding it. Hand sanding it. I'll see you in a bit. Folks, we got about 5 coats of shellac on there. You can see this guy's just gleaming. Look at that, just gleaming out. Pretty. Look at that. Now, I could probably put another 4 or 5 more coats on there and get this thing to like a really like a diamond shine, you know what I mean? But we want it to, you know, look like a 200-year-old guitar like it is. So we're going to stay there. So we pretty much sanded it, wet sanded it between every, you know what I mean, coat. And then at the end, we did sand with some mineral oil with 1000 and 3000. And then we just hit it up with some regular old polishing compound. And we're going to let it set overnight, peel back that tape, and then we're going to get to work on the back. So we'll see you on the morrow. Peace. See, Carl? We love you. What's up, turkey birds? So it's the next day, and we have ourselves a pretty nice guitar. We stripped back all that tape, and you know what I mean? I was really, you know what I mean, a couple of places like, oh, I want to go back and fix this, but you know what? I'm going to leave it. There's some, you know what I mean, little areas that are a little sketchy, but I was playing a couple of my real old guitars last night just to sort of get a feeling, you know what I mean? And this finishes about right, you know what I mean? So, like I said about the front, when we were about to do the front, you know, I tried my best to keep the original finish intact when I sanded it down, you know, real egregiously. The back, just like the front, had all kinds of coats of paint on it too. And right by the ice cream cone, I left, some signs here. It had, like, besides the original caramel finish there, which is like the best way to describe it, like a medium dark caramel. On top of the caramel had a coat of varnish, and then it had like a coat of like dark, like opaquish brown, as you can see in here, right? And then that had some varnish on top of that, and then there was like a more of like a yellowish, you know what I mean, chocolatey, you know what I mean, brown on top of that, which had like 2 coats of varnish as well. So we had a lot of paint to get off. So unfortunately, you know, we had to get zealous in some places. You know what I mean? And then there's some little bald spots where, you know what I mean, the original finish is gone. So we're going to do the same idea, you know what I mean, spend some real nice time here going over this guy real carefully with some acrylics. You know, the wiping, you know, the stain, the quick wipe and stain process, you know what I mean? You don't want to keep it on too long. Just to match up with that caramel to get like an even color. This is going to be a little tedious. And then we're going to, you know what I mean, tape it off a little bit here, you know what I mean, lightly. You know what I mean? And set it on its back real carefully right here. And we'll do the shellac job. So I'm going to put you on a pause here and come back to you right after we're done with the acrylics and we're about to put the shellac on. This is going to be the most tedious process. That's why I saved it, you know what I mean, for right this minute. Just so I can frustrate myself when everything's going good. Peace. So the painstaking process of processing it is processed. So there we go, man. Just pretty much matched up what we could. Tried to get it right. A little bit careful, a little bit careless. But we got it restained. We got it sitting on an old encyclopedia, which is pretty much all it's good for at this point. And we got it taped up accordingly. We got the shellac ready. We got a brand new, beautiful paint ghost ready to try to assist us on our final step in the refinishing process of old Karl. So let's put you on pause and come back, you know what I mean? Either crying or sighing. Peace. Alright, so we got like 3 solid coats of that shellac on there, man. And we went over and we wet sanded it, you know what I mean, various grits. And then we actually steel wooled it and made it nice and smooth. And I kind of noticed that the sides were real real, and I can't really see it on the camera. They were like orangey looking, you know what I mean, like a beautiful sort of orange cherry color in the back, sort of like more of a dull, you know what I mean, sort of thing. So I'm going to, you know what I mean, what am I going to do? I'm going to get some amber shellac, go over that. I'm going to just take some shellac, take a baby snot sucker, put it into a clean bowl, and then get some food color in here. Make a little orange, folks. Make a little orange. So I'm going to put you on a pause when I'm all ready to rock. So we got it. And we check on the popsicle stick. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? The dipstick. And that's about what I want. A little amber shellac with a hint of more orange. You know what I'm saying? Hint more orange. And 1 little drop of green, man. Can you believe that? Chemistry, brothers, sisters. Alright, folks. Nothing to see here. So the cool thing about this is these are pretty much, you know what I mean, like more of a natural. You know, I'm not saying they're natural, but they're natural, closer to what they were using 1,000 years ago, and they're, you know what I mean, shellacking this. And on the fat trip, it sort of fades a little bit cooler. You know what I mean? You'll see what I mean, man. I'm not making a mistake. We have the original lacquer job that we protected, sealed anyway, with clear lacquer, with clear shellac, man. It's protected. So, you know what I mean? This is just sort of a little bit extra cosmetic oomph for our little coffee cake. Peace. That's what I mean, folks. Just highlight a little bit more orange in there so it didn't have any bald spots. You know what I mean? This is like, you know what I mean? Great looking. So I just finished putting on the last coat. 2 extremely healthy thick coats on the back primarily. A little thin coat around the side. Just to keep it, you know what I mean, copacetic, and then it's perfect. You know what I mean? Not overdone, overstated. Let this dry 4 or 5 hours. You know what I mean? Perfectly dry. And then we'll wet sand it, oil sand it, and just let it set. You know what I mean? For a good week. And then just Coat that son of a bee. Butcher's wax head to toe. See to shine and see. And then wait further instructions from the Colonel. Gorgeous. Caramel. Shellac. Must eat. Butterscotch. Oh, man. Time to do the monster mash with the coffin case. Always trying to protect that Wells Fargo thing after I glued it back down there. It's pretty much renewed the glue, you know. Survived many a moon. And you see we got the original latch and I got the reproduction latch. Look at that. You can't even tell. You know what I'm saying? You can't even tell. It's like almost perfect, man. Perfect. Let me go back into that. Oh, now it's going to misbehave on me. Run into the eyelet like it's supposed to, man. And that's the original eyelet. You see that? That's the original little lasso, man. So Cousin Carl's in his case, man. Now, essentially, all we've really done to this guitar in this whole Babylon saga has been cosmetic and like preservatory. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say it that way. I mean, I bet you had I got it in that ugly yellow state, and I, you know, put some pins in there, put some tuners on there, strings, I probably would have been able to play the thing, and it probably would sound about the same as it's about to sound in about an hour and a half from now. So let's reflect on this a little bit. You know what I mean? This guitar, and I was thinking about it, that this is kind of like a little bit of a tomb robbery, man. It's sort of like somebody like crept into Cousin Carl's coffin right after he passed, man, and rifled through his body, man. Maybe took a couple rings off of him, right, and then turned his cadaver over and seen that he'd been decapitated. He's like, ooh, well, let's just take his tuners. You know what I mean? And let's take his little things and let's leave him for dead, man. Lucky I got him and like take his like skull and smash it against the side of the mausoleum, man. But yeah, a little bit of somebody along the line left him for dead because they seen that little repair on the back there with the mortar. And they're like, all right. So I want to look at this guitar and like give you my final verdict where it came from, man. This is an English guitar, and it had probably a Spanish headstock put on it at one point. And I'm thinking this was all done in Germany. And I think that his bridge, the original bridge, flipped off his guitar at one point, and it took some wood with it, and you can see all kinds of marks of him trying to fix it up, and you know what I mean? There's all kinds of tool marks and stuff. And so my man, Cousin Carl, he just said, you know what, I'm going to paint this shit so nobody sees it. You know what I'm saying? And I hear you, Cousin Carl, I hear you, but it's a beautiful guitar, man. And I'm saying that this is British, and it's, you know what I mean, early, you know what I mean, Industrial Revolution times, man, because, you know what I mean, all the German and Spanish and French workshops were like little Santa Claus, you know what I mean, the workshop, little L's, you know what I mean, ding, 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 you know what I mean, little cobblers. It wasn't like in Great Britain. You see like German guitars and fine French guitars, and they have fine binding, like multi-layer binding, and crazy little rosettes. This is very, very, you know what I mean. Hey, we'll have a machine, we'll put everything together, and it'll look very nice for people to be able to play it after they have a couple at the pub, mate. It sounds like Australian, but you know, you'll get the idea, you know what I mean? It's a very simply done thing. And I think this might be an export model, you know what I mean? Because a lot of Germans like to drink their beer down to the beer hall, but maybe couldn't even afford a German guitar. You know what I mean? Like Americans not being able to afford an American guitar. And they made these like export models maybe, you know what I mean? Cheap thing. And the reason I'm saying that is it's got a very British, you know what I mean, heel here, ice cream cone, and the way this is connected, and the size and everything. But it looks like it's like a copy, because you see like French and like German guitar with a black neck, and this piece right here, man, is always a little bit smaller, and it's always black, man. So they didn't know that, you know what I mean? It's like, we're just going to make it nice for these crowds, make sure that they like the guitar, and they play real nice and buy more from us down in Australia. So I'm thinking that my man, Cousin Carl, he got this beautiful English guitar and he loved it, you know what I mean? It was just something different, and it was a Spanish style guitar, and he probably had a Spanish guitar, being the Jimi Hendrix Prussian that he was, and probably when it met its headstock accident, he probably had his favorite Spanish headstock put on, You know what I mean? Maybe it's from Spain. Now, I'm saying that because of two things, man. Two things. These weird things. I saw this on another Spanish guitar, like early Romance guitar. These bushings. You know what I mean? It's a weird size too. And another thing that's kind of weird about this particular headstock is that the spacing between this and this is 35 in the center, and that's pretty standard. The space between this and this is like 32 millimeters, man. This is a lot smaller than this, and there's nothing, you know what I mean? It hasn't been re-drilled. And look how this, you know what I mean, tuner had like a small piece here and like a big fan-out piece there. It was a strange tuner that was made. I believe it was made in Spain. I think that's from Spain. Another reason I know this is from a different guitar, if you take the old handy-dandy ruler here, now we can look at the smallest part of this headstocker, which we know is from the original Gitter. Let's go already in there. He's about 42. Now you see here, there's like, there's like a little bit of like a diagonal piece that comes out. See that, how it comes out diagonal? That's all Wando. Wando, my friends. So let's go to the smallest piece of headstock B and measure him at the smallest level. He is approximately, see that? .5 versus 42. You know what I'm saying, man? So, it was a different guitar. Because at the smallest part of this headstock, and this guitar, you can feel it. You know what I mean? He's got it at a slight angle to sort of make it feel smooth. But it is a little tiny bit crooked. It's crooked. See how it's like, you know what I mean? It's whacking slack too much. It bends to one side. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's got a curve on it. Why? So, I was thinking about Cousin Karl, man. With this weird thing, you know what I mean, getting a set of vintage tuners that is going to fit this strange, you know what I mean, measurements, it's not going to happen. 35 and 32 on 3-strip vintage tuners, come on now. Not going to happen. So, I'm going to go utilitarian. I got these tuners from CB Giddy Craft, man. They seem to have some nice tuners. These are called parlor tuners, is what they're called. Parlor style tuners. But they're for like solid peg heads. They got that nice, you know what I mean, traditional, you know what I mean. But this is a slotted headstock, so you know what I mean. That might look nice and everything. But what are we gonna do? So I got these. This is a set of Waverly like knockoffs, man. Oh, I just can't get it out, man. Plastic is too much. I'm going to take these posts. I don't know why they did these, and that's probably why I got them so cheap. And I mean, they had like, you know what I'm saying, like, this is for a slotted. But I think that these are actually like 37, and they're not going to be able to fit them all on there. You know what I mean? It'll go in there, though. You know what I'm saying? I'll get it in there. I might have to widen these guys to ream them out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But I'll get them in there. I'm going to take these shafts, put them on here, and I'm going to replace these screws here with slotted screws, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just a 3 millimeter, you know, slotted screw. I'm gonna get like a pan-headed rounded head to make that screw look. You know what I mean? It'll make it like kind of look like those Waverlys. You know what I mean? Or the high-end reissues. You know what I'm saying? Just look a little bit more class. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna get this guy all strung up, man, and I'll come right back at you with some glam shots once Cousin Karl is back on top of his game. And I want to say another thing real quick, because I keep forgetting to mention in every one of my videos about this bad boy, man. I got this at the Dollar Tree, bro. And, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to shout out to it because you can pretty much fix anything black, man. Anything black whatsoever. And, you won't be able to see it, man. Oh, see all that? It just blends in with the lacquer, man. You know what I mean? Whatever the hell this is, Dollar Tree, it's well worth the 33 cents. And then it comes with 2 other colors. We'll get the one with black in it. There's one with like 3 shades of brown. There's one with black, 2 shades of brown. Get that one. Black. All right, so I'm going to put some strings on here. So I'm not going to go with the strings that I was using before. I'm going to go with a new set of strings. Like, I think I'm going to use I saw them online. They're kind of the ball ends. I believe that they're Ernie Ball, Labella or something like that. And I'm going to use these old, I have some 19th century tuning pegs here. Take a look at these bad boys here. These stubby ones. I'm going to try to, I think I have probably about 6 of them in here by now. See, I got everything doubled up in these drawers, man. I got so many extra cases all over the place. I got one over here. I'm just too lazy. I got things doubled up, man. I got like, here's some Les Paul frets up in here. This is some truss rods for some Fender. Truss rod inserts. Yay. This is my 19th century tuner pegs here. So I'm going to get these little stubby guys. Look at this guy right here. Like the ones that look like this. You know what I'm saying? Just the regular top. Actually, I don't want anything this guy. That's what I'm talking about. This is probably what was on there. A real primordial looking motherfucker. So, like I said, I'm going to use that. I'm going to get some nice strings on there. The lowest tension ball ends I can find. I'm going to thread the strings through there with a pipe cleaner. You know what I'm saying? Basically, you're going to wrap the ball of the... well, hang on a second. I'll show you how it's done. Okay, now, you're going to want to put all the strings on the guitar with these type of old romantic guitars, the way I'm going to do it, before you put them up on the tuners anyway. But I'm going to do one of them just to show you how it's done. Or you know what I mean, close to the. And this is the string I'm going to use right here. And by the magic of Grayskull, I have the power. All right, so then we're going to take this big guy. Now, these strings have ball ends, so it makes it a little bit easier for the people. Nice for the people, easy for the people. So we take this guy off, we unwind it, and we see this guy's got a little eyeball hole, like all guitar strings have. These are called chenille strings. Back when I was a kid, they were called pipe cleaners, but we don't clean pipes anymore, folks. All these vapors nowadays, man. So we take this chenille string, as it's now duly called, goes on Forky, Toy Story 17. Cut him in half. We only need half of his ass. Oh, you hurt my Forky. Oh no. And we're gonna take him around there. Now this is basically just the cushion string, you know what I'm saying? We're just gonna wrap this guy around here so he looks like a Muppet. Phenomena. Do 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 do. Phenomena. Do 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 do. Phenomena. Do 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 do. Right now, phenomena. He looks good. So what we're gonna do here, unless you have your child around who's got real small hands and reach back in here like, hey, I can fish it, I can get it, because we're gonna want to fish this guy through here. We're going to take another one of our chenille strings, which is now falling onto the floor, and we tie the business end, the unbusiness end, the nomina end, and we just hands touching hands. And this is the way to do it. I'm so smart. So you put it in here. This you can reach without breaking the sound hole. Oh, where are you? Oh, you know what I mean? They're making a fool out of me, Cousin Carl. There he is. You like the guitar cracking? There we go. This is all crusty and dusty, man. It's hard to do this because I got like a camera between me and the, you know what I mean? I'm going to do all the rest of this in my easy chair. This is just for the people so they can see how it's done. Okay? And we got Manab down there, and we just pull this very carefully through here. And we got him, and he's going to go back there, and he's going to protect the people. Protect the people from further incident. Now, you don't want to do all the strings, because you're not going to, once the tension, you're not going to be able to reach in there with anything. So where did I put that fancy old... one second. So we got this rudimentary, you know what I mean, little pin for the bridge, right? And if you take a look at it, it's kind of like, it's not going to sit in there, man. It's too small, man. I can't just swimming around in there. I'm never going to get the job done. It's too small. But you can put a little muscle around it so he can swim around like all the big fishy. This is just Dental floss, man. Just dental floss. Wax dental floss. Because the wax will like sort of stay on itself and you make it a little fatter. You know what I mean? You make it thinner. And this is a cool dental floss because it's a travel size. And you can put it in your pocket. And you can just cut it off whenever you want. It's probably too much, but you get the idea. Right? And the wax, you know what I mean? Make sure you stand here. Keep us together. It always doesn't work out when I'm filming myself. There we go. Get in like a little bundle at the bottom there. And you put it in there now. Nice and tight. See that? Nice and tight. Let me show you. Yeah. Hey man, I'm proud of you. Can I untie my shoe? Oh, good boy. Good boy. Alright, so let's get these guys all assembled. And like I said, I'll see you in the glam shots. Peace. Carl's home. Carl's home to stay. Hoo, 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 hoo. And he's back, man. You could tell once you put the strings on, a little tension on here. This has been a long abandoned guitar, folks. Long abandoned guitar, but he's back, man. It's one piece black neck. You can see like through the many layers of paint, all the, you know what I mean, wear that it's had. Definitely budget minded though. Old Spanish style guitar with no sign of a rosewood fretboard, just, you know, frets, several different sets of frets throughout the years set directly into the wood. No separate fretboard, folks. It's just sort of like, you know what I mean, budget minded. Get what you get, you don't get upset. You can ask Santa Claus for a nice German guitar if you like. He's going to have the L's put out a couple more quid if that's what you like. Look at those new tuners, man. You can see that post spacing differential a little bit, but look at those beautiful cheesehead screws, man. Nice, right? Good thing about these modern tuners is you don't have to worry about, you know what I mean? The old ones, you get an old romantic guitar, you're always worried about tuning it because they're all bone, you want to break them off. I broke off the tuner, oh! This is like, oh, I can tune away, man. One piece, man. All one piece this back, man. That's a very nice guitar, man. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, cousin Carl, man. I appreciate you letting me tickle on your guitar, man. This guitar, after playing it for like a day or two, you know what I'm saying? It feels like your own guitar. It's an extremely lightweight guitar. It's an extremely loud guitar. It's got like a projection thing. I could see why, you know what I mean? Dr. Jimi Hendrix of Prussia, you know what I mean, in his ministry, this is an important tool. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a loud guitar. It's nice. So, I want to talk to you a little bit more about the Neubourgs, man. I want to talk about this bridge. And I want to say that it's definitely a replacement bridge. You know what I mean? I've seen this on a bunch of different guitars, romantic guitars, from different places. It looks like an import German piece. You screw it on. This is, if you had any kind of traumatic episode with your guitar, which this definitely had. You get this guy, you put her on. I left a whole bunch of like tooling marks from Carl Sr., I think, Carl Jr., whoever. And it's okay, man, to be damaged. I hope that you're proud of me, cousin Carl. If you came back, I think you'd first be like, "Oh, what happened to my beautiful yellow color, Bobby G? You can see he's all naked now. You see all the cracks." Oh, and then he turned over. He's like, "Oh, yes, Bobby G, you're my cousin. Let us jam together." I don't know why he sounds like Kubla Khan, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not too good, man. That's just what's in my head. So, Neubourgs, man. Now, this is the traditional French spelling of the Neubourg, you know, going back to William the Conqueror, you know what I mean? Like, it's old school. The bulk of the Neubourg family ended up in, like, the Hanover region in Germany. And, I mean, there's one guy, Ganz Neubourg. He converted to Judaism. He married into a very wealthy textile family. Of course, textiles, right? And, you know, he converted to Judaism. Now, along his line, there was a Karl Neuberg not too long ago. You know, about 100 years ago. He basically was the father of modern biochemistry, man. His father was in textiles. He said, "Son, You know, you should go into brewing. You should become a brewmaster. And he started studying like the fermentation aspects of glucose and yeast and everything. He was just too smart for the brewing, man. So another cousin called Neuberg. According to 23andMe, the Neubourgs, they're all the same haplogroup. All the same atom, man. We're all cousins. You go back far enough, man. We're all related. So, here it is, man. Let's get a little bit closer with the Bobby G connection and the Neubourgs, man. And let's just explore a little bit closer to home, shall we? Let's get back into the family history, folks. You know, I was giving you all kinds of information in the beginning of this project about the Neubourg family. And I told you that great-great-great-grandpa Neubourg came from Hanover. And he went into Sweden where he found love. You know, he had some money. He was in the textile business, as I was telling you about. And he met a pretty girl who was the daughter of some, you know, prominent aristocrat over there. Married her, had a couple kids, but hated Sweden. Just did not like it. So he moved south, man. He ended up in Viborg, Denmark. And, you know, like the Neubergs were, they were always quarreling and bickering. So, you know, there he sat. And in 1861, there was a terrible house fire. He rescued all 8 of his kids. And then he went in to rescue the neighbor's kids, and unfortunately the house collapsed. And God rest your soul, Grandpa Neuberg. So Grandma Neuberg grew up in Viborg. This is from 1870, from her own collection. Here she was, about age 17, with her mom, Bereth Christiansdotter, from Sweden. I can't, you know what I mean, something about it. But there she is, Rose Neuberg. Around about this time, she met Hans Christian Andersen, of all people. Now, if Denmark in 1870 was New Jersey, Hans Christian Andersen was like Bruce Springsteen. He was like a national treasure. So she went to work for him as a maid, you know what I mean? And he was like, you know, like I said, in Springsteen. You know, he had like, you know, and he was a national treasure, lauded by the king. This is my this is Grandma Rosa Neuberg around the time of her marriage to my grandpa Soren Jensen, who now Soren also had a connection to Hans Christian Andersen. His mom grew up as a neighbor of Hans Christian Andersen, and he was like obsessed with her, and like put his son to work, I think as a valet. I believe that's him in his valet uniform around about the time he met my great grandmother. Now they continued to work together even after he died. I mean, Hans Christian Andersen had no children, he had no brothers and sisters, he never married. You know what I'm saying? So it was basically a business, you know what I mean? So the estate pretty much stayed together for a couple of years. Eventually, they married 1880, you know, one, I think it was, 5 years after, you know, he died. And they sort of had their own life. He went into the leather business. But Grandpa Soren Jensen, great-great-grandpa Soren Jensen, from Copenhagen, he was a huge fan of Old Bull, a great Norwegian violinist. He had some, I believe, Danish roots. And he went to all of his concerts, you know, and he was a huge, huge fan. He was a fiddler himself. And I have his fiddle. When my grandma died, I got it from her. And she told me all kinds of stories about it. It was in terrible, terrible shape. Terribly dusty when I first got it. 15 years ago when she passed. And I wrapped up all his bows because they were like horsehair and they fall apart in like tissue paper. You know what I'm saying? And there it is, man. It's still perfect. You know what I mean? I don't want to string it up because A, I don't know how to play violin. I don't want to break it. You know what I mean? It's got the original bridge. It's got all the tuning pegs. You even got a set of E strings on there. Made in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Look at that. Now, he lived out in Philly. You know what I mean? But he died in, I guess, 1933, roundabout. So, this Grandpa Soren's violin, I'm not going to mess with it because it's, you know what I mean, something I treasure dear. You know what I mean? I you know, wouldn't, you know what I mean, want to break it, and I haven't really, you know what I mean? I don't know nothing about violin anyway. But I got it, man. And I would like to eventually fix the case that I tried at one point. See, look at that old chipboard case. I'll show you the Old Bull insignia on the back. He was a huge, huge fan of this Old Bull. See that? It's a copy of the Stradivarius that Old Bull used to play. You can see he's got some Sears wear on there too, man. I understand that great-great-grandpa Soren was quite a... He'd like to have a couple drinks and get out the fiddle, man, entertain the whole crew. Just like we all do, man. God bless you, God rest you. I'll see you in a minute, Soren. And I want to just take a moment and remember the Neubergs. Miss Rose Neuberg. Philadelphia. I'm with Grandma Rosa Jensen, Grandpa Soren Jensen, Uncle Bill, Aunt Cora Hoon. Now, it was Uncle Bill and Aunt Cora who opened their house to my grandma after my great-grandparents died at a really young age. So these are wonderful, blessed people here. This is my people. Miss you guys, love you. I just want to take a moment to thank you for everything you guys did. All the sacrifices that the Neubourgs and the Jensens, the whole family. I love you guys. So, I know that Cousin Carl Jr., you're out in Sacramento, so I'll be sure to visit you if I ever back out in the left coast. This is your second cousin of guitar, Grandma Neuberg. And I only have one question for you. Do you like squeeze? They do it down on campus and they do it at Waikiki. They sing about the beach all the night, the cricket's creepy. Squinting faces at the sky, a Harold Robbins paperback. Shepherds drop their poison dry, and everybody wants a hat. But behind the chalet, my holiday's complete, and I feel like Williamstown, May Marian on her tiptoe feet, pulling muscles from a shell, pulling muscles from a shell. It's for you, Cousin Carl. For you, Brother Stephen Bertram. Love you. Glenn and Chris Squeeze. Oh, I love you. The Neubergs, love you. The Jensens, I love you. Everybody, I love you. The Guitkit family, I love you. Enjoy your life. Because once you're here, you're family. This is too short, people. God bless you.